Hi, in this video I'm going to share 5 tips to help you remember vocabulary quicker and more easily. So learning and remembering new words and new phrases, idioms, collocations, all that stuff is one of the most challenging things about learning a language. And I can remember myself being in China, where I used to live, and trying to learn and remember new phrases, and it was so difficult. I couldn't sometimes seem to get the words to stay in my head, and I remember how frustrating I found that. It was really annoying. So I've got 5 strategies to share with you today. 2 of these strategies are for all language learners. One of the strategies is for people who are very, very visual, so people who really like to see things. One of the strategies is for auditory learners, so that's people who like to hear things. And the final strategy is for kinesthetic learners, and kinesthetic people like to move things around. Most people are visual, but it's worth knowing which style suits you, because then you can adapt your studying to match. So the first strategy is for all language learners, and this is something that as a teacher I have tried to explain to people many times, and that is that you must organize your new language. Too many times I see people with a vocabulary book, and down here are English words, and down here are words in the first language, but there's no organization, there's no system. It's just a list of random vocabulary, and that is really hard to remember because there's no logic, there's no pattern. Your brain has not got very much to hold on to. So the first thing you can do to make learning language easier for you is to organize it into groups. So you can do this by topic, so words about work, words about the environment. You can do it by function, so you can have phrases for agreeing and disagreeing, or you can have phrases for making offers and requests. And it doesn't really matter how you categorize vocabulary, as long as it makes sense for you. It's your list, so it needs to fit your mind. The second strategy to help you learn vocabulary and remember is one for visual learners, so people who can close their eyes and really see very clear pictures. And this strategy is to use that, so to create pictures that match with the new words and phrases. Now, you can draw little drawings if you want to. They don't have to be beautiful artworks. Some people like to draw pictures, but you might find it easier to create an image in your mind that matches the word. Other things you can do are to play around with the letters of the word. So you might make a mental picture of the letters, and a good example is the word love. So you can imagine the word love in big red letters. So it's really a case of just tapping into your imagination and connecting the new language with a picture. The third strategy, and this is one for auditory learners, and this is when you create a link between a sound in your first language and the sound of the word in English. So for me, as an English speaker who learnt Chinese, the word for dog in Chinese is go, and that sounds very like the word go in English. So I can make a connection between go in Chinese and go, and that's my sound link. And if I want to take that further, I can also make a mental picture, and I might imagine a dog running very quickly, and then I can just remember, go, which would mean, hey, go dog. So now I've got a sound link and also a picture link. The next strategy is one for kinesthetic people, so people who like to move. And this one really is to encourage you to be creative about how you record vocabulary. So for kinesthetic learners, it might be good to, instead of having your vocabulary on big bits of paper, use small pieces of card. And then you can move the pieces of card. So you can have some over here, words I don't know, some over here, words I do know, and you can move them physically from one pile to the other pile. You can also then play games with yourself and pick them up and maybe do some matching stuff. But for kinesthetic people, writing your vocabulary on small cards so that you can move easily will be really helpful for you. And the fifth and final tip, and again this is one for all types of learner, is that you must review your vocabulary. It's not enough to just write a word down and then that's it, because you probably won't remember, and it certainly won't become active. So it can be hard to know how often you should review vocabulary, and a really nice way to do it is to plan your review times and leave slightly longer between each review. So maybe you choose some new words and you review them after 10 minutes. And then you review them again after 20 minutes. And then you wait and you review them again after an hour, then again after 2 hours, then again the next day. And each time, the distance of time from between review and review gets longer and longer. And this is something called spiral reviews. So you're gradually allowing the spiral to become bigger and bigger. And the final thing I want to say about vocabulary is don't try to learn everything all at once, because you can't. 7 new words a day is more than enough to be thinking about. If you really want to do it properly, I would even say 5 new words and phrases a day. My name's Sarah and I'm an English teacher and language anxiety coach. I help people overcome the fear of speaking and using English.